some of the things that are floating around are all of these myths about Latter-day Saint scouting. Is it okay to be in scouting if you're a Latter-day Saint? And we have Nettie Francis here, who I can't think of anybody better than Nettie to be able to help us to debunk those myths. Nettie, the time is yours.
Thank you, Charles. You know, if we want to encourage scouting among Latter-day Saints, then it's absolutely imperative that we debunk a few of the myths that are floating around. People are prone to read a headline and think that they comprehend a story. And during the past century, both the church and the BSA have been victims to media myths and misconceptions. But paradoxically, the situation we're in right now is where there are a lot of misconceptions about the BSA among church members. And that's what we're going to talk about today. I want to start just with a simple example. I have here a copy of the Book of Mormon and the Weeble Scout Handbook, my son's dog-eared copy that he looks at every day. As missionaries, when people asked us about what we believe, all we really wanted was for them to open the Book of Mormon. Yes, we believe in Jesus Christ. Yes, we believe in families. Yes, we believe in baptism. No, we don't practice polygamy right now. Yes, we are Christians. Well, the same can be true of scouting. When people have questions about scouting, sometimes I just want them to open a handbook. Open this up. See what our children are reading. See what our boys and girls are learning when they open these pages. What skills are they learning? What are they asked to do? And so I encourage you to use the Scouting Handbook as a tool as we debunk some of these myths. It's so inspiring. In fact, some days my boy can't put it down when he's reading through it. If you'd like to follow along right now, then I invite you to open your workbook to page 8, and I'll pull up my screen here just a minute. And on page 8 in the workbook, you'll find that there are two, let me get this going here, that there are two articles that I'll be referring to. One is an article that I wrote last year about debunking myths, and another is an article that has been uploaded by Amy Tadlock, and we'll get to that later. But again, those are both in your workbook if you want to reference those. Today, we're going to talk again about confusion that Latter-day Saints have regarding the Boy Scouts of America. And I think the interesting thing to note is that the BSA has simply been making some structural modification, and the church is making and has already made similar adjustments. So let's get right into these myths. Myth number 1, the church no longer supports scouting. Just this last week, my friend sent me a message, and she said that she was trying to start a girls' troop in her neighborhood. And so she sent around an email, and within a few hours, her bishop had texted her and said, "Come in, we need to visit about this." And he told her that he didn't want her to do this because he said, "We're not supposed to be involved in scouting anymore." Now, obviously, this was a community thing she was doing separate from the ward, but it just illustrates some of the myths that people have about scouting in the church. Whenever I face this myth, the quote that I love to go to is from Elder Holland. He was at the National Annual Meeting 2 years ago, and he spoke, and he said, right now in the church, there are 4.5 million young people. We have a very large responsibility to a very large church, and it's getting larger. That's the arena and the growth that we're facing. We are obligated for all the right reasons to intentionally reach them around the world. Please know how grateful we are to the BSA. We are friends now, and we will be friends forever. I hope that many LDS youth who wish to do so will still choose to be in scouting. Just the charter part we're separating from. This isn't a divorce, it's growth. We're not in any way disavowing any of those virtues of scouting. Now, the reason I love this quote so much is because I was there when Elder Holland spoke, and I reported on the event. And we actually had to get clearance from Elder Holland to share these comments in the article. And so I know this is what he said and this is what he meant. And I love that phrase, we are friends now and we will be friends forever. Another thing we can do to debunk that myth is just to simply be present in the community. This is my boys this last week going out for our PAC flag fundraiser. And they showed up at a lot of neighbors' doors. A lot of neighbors who said some things to us about, well, scouting is over. Well, guess what? Here we are on your doorstep. Scouting is not over. We just need to be present and visible to debunk this myth. Myth number 2, girls in scouting. I love this myth because the bottom line is that the church has made recent changes as well to include girls in their programs. The brand new Children and Youth program is a gender based outline for personal growth for girls, young men, young women. We're all now on an equal plane. In fact, besides the brand new program that's out for children and youth, the church has made additional changes in temple and baptismal ordinances to more readily involve females and clarify the value and position of women in the priesthood. In the church, we say, this is so exciting, this is enlightening. So we should feel just as excited about the parallel changes to equalize females in scouting. It's exciting that both the BSA and the church are making similar structural adjustments. These are some pictures of my beautiful daughter who served last year on PTC staff at Philmont. And I have wonderful memories as a youth being involved in exploring and venturing. And I'm so excited that my girls can be involved in Cub Scouting and Scouts BSA. Again, we should not be concerned about these changes. We should be just as excited about these changes, that girls can do the same activities and learn the same skills that our boys have been learning. Myth number 3, the church is leaving scouting because of transgender youth and adults. Now, frankly, the church has made and is making similar changes to the BSA. And a few examples of recent inclusiveness in the church are greater emphasis on inviting all to come unto Christ. The church has specific websites to help transgender individuals feel welcome in our congregations. The Tabernacle Choir performed with the San Francisco Gay Men's Chorus, and there are even recent church policy changes that allow baptisms for children of same-sex couples. So it's interesting to note that basically the church and the BSA are making similar changes, and at the same time, the BSA has not changed their Scout Oath and Scout Law. The church has not changed the 10 Commandments, the Articles of Faith, the Living Christ, the Proclamation on the Family. Both of these organizations are maintaining their historical and principled foundations, and both have opened their arms to all who wish to come and abide by their precepts. I think it's remarkable in both of these organizations how steadfast they have been with their foundations. And I think it just goes to show that good organizations are still needed in the world today. Myth number 4, the BSA is bankrupt. Now, we know the truth of this. The BSA has filed for a Chapter 11 bankruptcy or a restructure. In other words, they can set aside money specifically for litigation costs and abuse victims and still maintain funds necessary to run their organization and their programs. I'm going to give Mark just a minute. Do you want to clarify anything about that, Mark, just briefly?
Yes, Nettie, thank you for letting me take a few moments. I just want everyone to understand that bankruptcy for a nonprofit is different than a bankruptcy for a for-profit. Boy Scouts of America will not be going out of business. We simply are restructuring ourselves to set aside that money to support victims, at the same time positioning ourselves so that we can move forward into the future confidently being able to share the value-based program that we have done for the last century.
Thanks, Mark. And I just also want to recommend that the best thing to do in this case is to read official statements by the BSA. Don't look to the media for their headlines that they want to catch your eye. The other thing I think about the bankruptcy is that this decision was made by incredibly intelligent, honorable men and women on the National Executive Board. And I'm grateful for all they're doing to ensure that scouting is going to continue. Myth number 5, the BSA changed its name. Of course, this isn't true, but the media loves to take this and twist it. The Boy Scouts of America is still the Boy Scouts of America. They have simply changed one of their program from Boy Scouts to Scouts BSA. We can't clarify this too much. It's interesting, however, that the church has also made some name clarifications, and as members of the church, we should be very empathetic to official names. We were recently asked by our prophet to stop using the terms Mormon and LDS and instead focus on our full name, the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. Isn't it interesting, again, how these two good, wonderful organizations are undergoing similar structural adjustments and are, in some cases, being bashed by the media about it? We have to keep the truth out there. Myth number 6, Scout leaders endanger our youth. You know, my kids participate in several different extracurricular activities, and none of them have a youth protection program, not even close to what the BSA requires of their leaders. So in my opinion, and the statistics support me, kids are safer in scouting programs than anywhere else. I love sending my kids to leaders who've been trained in multiple facets of safety. and specific guidelines. The BSA is absolutely the premier adventure safety organization, and I love that my kids can learn skills within the BSA. Scout leaders that I know are honorable, upright citizens who support youth. We have to keep that truth out there. Myth number 7, we can't be involved in both scouting and the new children and youth program. Of course, this myth is absolutely false because these programs complement each other perfectly. I am so grateful that our youth can still be involved in scouting while working on their personal growth. Scouting is such an effective way to inspire physical, intellectual, spiritual, and social development in youth. It's a very well-balanced method to increase in wisdom and stature and in favor with God and man. Now, every family has to decide for themselves if they're going to use scouting and the church program together or what their choice will be, but our family continues to choose scouting and use it as a complement for the new children and youth program. I think one of the best images of this complement was, again, like I said, created by Amy Tadlock, and the quote is the link is in your workbook. And this shows how scouting comes together to support children in all 4 areas that they've been asked to develop in. I just want to close with the thought that scouting is a bridge. I love that President Monson always called it a bridge. It's a bridge to connect us with good people who are not of our faith, who also believe in God, country, and family. For our family, scouting is a ministry, and we love meeting and serving with incredible people in our community and our nation and our world. And I have to say that we have felt an undeniable spirit when we gather with good people in scouting. We feel like we're working arm in arm with other children of God to prepare for the second coming of the Savior. And I believe that's exactly what the church is encouraging us to do. Up ahead, our family has an opportunity to continue this bridge as we embark on a new adventure in Japan, and we are so thrilled about that. So we are still scouting. I encourage you to debunk these myths with your friends through your actions, through your words, and I encourage you to still be scouting as we go forward. Now, please enjoy this short video clip, and after the clip, we will turn the time over to Trevor Bender for the next portion of our little filmont. I have to say, one of my favorite things about the scouting program is that it gets our boys active and outside. And in this world where there is so much digital and so much lethargy, so much sitting around, I just love that when I send my boys to a scout meeting, they're up and they're doing and they're active and they're out sometimes in the sticks and the stones. I think that's an incredible benefit of scouting to our youth today, and one that we can't pass over. We need these kids to still be active and outside.
That's one of the great opportunities scouting provides. Significant things happen when you're on a scouting adventure, when you're disconnected from technology, and all of a sudden you hear the sounds of birds. You see the stars in the night sky. You feel the wind blowing. You hear it in the trees. These are significant things that scouting can provide a generation that is losing that, and helping those young people realize that they don't have to always be connected to that technology, that special things can happen when they disconnect from that.
One of the reasons that we're still going to be scouting is because it's a family activity. We love showing up to PAC meetings or courts of honor with all of our kids. We love going on adventures together. We love being involved as a family. Scouting is really a family activity. It involves both the parents, it involves the kids. It gives us good, clean fun and adventure and experience and outing all together. And we just can't underestimate the power of it as a family activity.
It has not been uncommon when they're working on a merit badge or one of their rank advancements where the entire family is engaged in it. We've had the opportunity to go to family camps and where all of the children get to participate in different scouting activities. When both of my older boys worked on their Eagle Scout project, we understand clearly that the Eagle Project is for that boy to show leadership to the boys in his troop and others who are willing to help him. And I am a witness that his entire family, not just his siblings and his parents, but his extended family, jumped in for both boys. And to see the camaraderie that was created, not just with our own family, but with the extended family as well, was significant.
We're a very religious family. We already have, daily family prayer, daily scripture study.
attend church every week, have spiritual experiences as a family. But I know that for our boys that have grown up and gone on, it's been when they were outside of our care, in a place where they weren't with their parents, that they had to stretch. That's when they gained their own spiritual witness, their own spiritual testimony. For us, Scouting provides that second witness, or that second opportunity for them to get out of the home, out of our already religious environment, and have an experience on their own where they can connect with God.
I've had numerous experiences over the years where I've had the opportunity to interact with good men and women of all different faiths. People who are as passionate about their religion as we are passionate about ours. And the opportunity to interact with them and to learn from them and to gain insights into how come religion is so important to them has strengthened my own beliefs. I am confident that whatever the church comes out with will be powerful, and it will be meaningful, and it will be what our young people need. But I'm also confident that there's other things and experiences that our children need. And for me, Scouting will continue to play a very, very important role because of the practical things that my children can learn, the practical skills, the practical experiences, and in a very real way, the opportunity for them to connect what they're learning in church to the world that they live in. And I can't think of a better way for that to happen in the life of a young person than on a campout, than on an outdoor adventure, than on a 50-mile hike. To me, and in my life, that's where those connections were made. When I was in the outdoors, when I was having that outdoor experience, I all of a sudden realized the significance that God played in my life and my dependence on Him.
Our family will still be scouting in 2020.
And we would like to invite you to do the same.